A puppy and a poodle have already filled on Underdog. The first poodle filled so quickly. I got 0 bullets in it, did not draft a single team. Luckily for us, Underdog loves making some money, loves taking our money. They've already dropped a Poodle 2, which is awesome. 48,000 entries here for the Poodle 2. Tonight, we're going to try to draft the best roster possible to take down that $60,000 prize. We draft a $7 Poodle 2 next.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Yeah. Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Cheating, cheating, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter. Cheating, cheating, bling, bling, patting pockets. Take the dollar, dollar, can a damn soul stop it.
Welcome into the Rumbles of Red on a weird Wednesday night. Not a night that we normally go about things here on the Rumbles of Red, but it's one we needed to get after this week because my main man, Dan, was unavailable for an ADP show. So welcome in. Appreciate it. We are powered by Bite Size Sports. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button here on the Bite Size Sports YouTube channel. We've got a goal of 750 subscribers before that first NFL game, Detroit Lions versus Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night, in just about 103 days or so away. Look, we're live multiple nights a week here on the Bite Size Sports channel, covering the NFL, the NBA. Monday, we had a phenomenal show. It was a boxing press conference for a pay-per-view bout that's coming up on Friday, presented by Carnage TV. So go check that out. A lot of stuff happening here on Bite Size Sports. So you can see live shows almost every night of the week. How are we doing tonight, chat? We're going to be drafting here momentarily, but I want to hear from you. How are you all doing tonight out there? My screen's kind of mess it up a little bit here. I want to see what I can do. There we go. There we are. Want to hear from you tonight. Are you planning on drafting with us? Are you just kind of lurking and not going to be drafting and watching? Maybe you're just going to be here to hear some strategy for Bestball, right? I do want to plan to talk through some strategy as we go. That kind of gets a little bit difficult as you're also drafting a team that you're hoping and you're spending your hard-earned money on, right? But that is the plan tonight. Give you a little insight on why I'm drafting certain players and some strategy behind my drafts. So we'll definitely talk through that. But I want to hear from you throughout the show as well. What do you think who do you think I should draft? Do you like the picks that I made? Those kind of things. I love interacting with you all, which is usually, on Friday nights. But tonight, Wednesday night, as you can see here on the thumbnail, please, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you can use my promo code Trevor Steinbacher. It will get you up to a $100 deposit bonus. So go ahead and use that. If you've never used Underdog Sports before, help me out. Also helps you out because, again, $100 deposit bonus up to. It'll match your deposit, whatever you deposit that first time. Every Friday night. I thought actually this might worked out a little bit better anyways because take these out. Make sure it doesn't mess anything up. It's so weird because I'm used to being with somebody else, so I feel like I always have to have my headphones in, but really I don't need my headphones in when it's just me. So mic's still on. We should be good there. Usually on Friday nights, felt like this made it better. This Friday night is going into Memorial Day weekend. It is a holiday. Doesn't really work out great, so I'm happy that we could slide this in on a Wednesday night. What's up, Grandpa? Good to see you. I hope that we can get in the same draft. I know you and I have been talking a little bit here pre-show. It's filling up fast. I have been watching the current entrants. They do start to slow down a little bit, but yeah, the Poodle 2 already 30% of the 48,000 here. So that is crazy. You get holiday breaks. Yeah, James, on occasions, better take it, take it slow here. hopefully have a little fun this Memorial Day weekend. Probably spend a lot of time at poolside with the family. You know how it goes. I'm still kind of dealing with this internet thing, whatever. Before I jump into this draft, I want to talk a little bit about Week 17 correlation and kind of one thing that really came about last year was everybody wanted to go, Week 17, you had to correlate because those were the games that were going to get you over the hump. And then we saw it happen, right? We see it happen with the guy who takes down the Bestball Mania and wins $2 million. He's got Tom Brady and Mike Evans stacked. He had Austin Eckler. Like he has these players who won, they go off, right? You got to get lucky as well. But when you're in that final, if you do get to Week 17 and you have a team that picked the right game or 2 or 3, and those players are correlating each other, because as we know, quarterbacks and wide receivers are going off, they're probably going to be pushing from the other side as well. So you're going to get a pass-catching running back or a wide receiver coming back on the other side. Very similar to what I talk about on my DFS podcast all year long. So we really want to try to correlate those Week 17 matchups as much as possible. One way that I try to just prepare myself is I've got a list. I've got a list of all the matchups for Week 17. Also Week 16, I think correlation there is important. While it's not the most important thing, I do think 17 is the most important. And then we're not reaching just to correlate, right? We're not going to reach a round or two just to get a correlation, a wide receiver coming back from the other side of a quarterback wide receiver matchup. However, when we get into those deeper rounds and we're trying to decipher, do I take wide receiver 3 here or wide receiver 3 there? Some of that correlation can just help us guide those decisions and help make those decisions for us, because we want the guy who's going to be correlated with our quarterback, correlated with the opposite team in Week 17, whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm going to be looking for this week. Last time we did this, we did not have those Week 17 matchups quite yet. So I will be making sure I have mine pulled up during this draft so we can kind of look through that. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense. I'm going to get ready to jump in here again. If you haven't already, go ahead and jump into Underdog. Don't jump into the draft yet, but get into Underdog Fantasy. Use my promo code Trevor Steinbacher, and let's hear from you here in the chat. How many best ball drafts have you done already on Underdog? Just Underdog specifically. We know DraftKings runs some stuff, but on Underdog, how many drafts have you completed so far? Let me know real quick. If I do it this way. There we go. I think I finally got it fixed here. All right. Let me pull this up here while everybody is waiting. And let's jump into a draft here shortly. This will be my first Poodle 2 draft. We're not going to jump in it quite yet, but this will be my first Poodle 2 draft. Just one. James, now's the time, man. I think you're in an airport right now. What better time? What better way to kill some time, right, than to jump in one with us? That was our league. You won money in last year. Well, you got to get into some of these tournaments here, because the tournaments that's where the big money's at in the end. The leagues are kind of fun. We'll have to do those leagues again this year. I need to do something different with the league. Last year, I went into that league draft as I was drafting for a tournament. I think I got dead last in that league, so that wasn't fun. But yeah, we'll have to do some of those leagues again this year. But you got to jump into some of these tournaments. Looking at the Poodle 2, none so far. Tyler, right now's the time, man. Dump $7 into that account and jump into the Poodle 2 with us tonight. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's look at the Poodle 2 first, because we have not taken a look at this one yet. One thing I do like about the Poodle and the Poodle 2, the lower max entries, right? Like Best Ball Mania, you can max 150 entries. No way am I ever I'm not gonna reach that, at least not this summer, maybe one day. I'm not gonna reach that. But some of these smaller tournaments with 20 max, we're looking at what, $140 that you can drop here and be in a good spot to potentially take home a little bit of cash. Tournament prize breakdown, as always, very heavy up top. 60,000 to the winner, 30,000 to second place. Top 10, just to get top 10, it's only $1,000. And I say only because it's 60,000 to the top prize. Go back to week 17 correlation I talked about a couple minutes ago. When you get to that week, give yourself an opportunity to win the whole thing. Because yes, will $1,000 be awesome? Of course. $60,000, that's a yearly salary for the average American. That's pretty darn nice, right? Pretty darn nice. 8,000. So let's see the qualifiers. Nothing weird here with the scoring. Same roster construction as always. So everything else here is pretty set. If you all right, I'm gonna give you a minute here, Tyler. Get your stuff ready, get this thing pulled up. What we'll do, anybody here that wants to draft with us, and I sure hope there's a couple of you, we're gonna all try to hit the enter button at the same time, essentially. It has been filling pretty quickly, so it might be hard to get everybody in the same one. We'll see how it goes. It kind of seems like the entrance, slow down, then speed up, then slow down. As you can see it right here coming through, right? So I'll give everybody a couple more minutes. Get to this page right here on Underdog. We're just going to find the Poodle 2, and we're going to wait before we hit that enter button. It'll be a fun draft. I'm excited for this one. Things go well. Maybe we can draft a couple of them tonight. We'll see what happens here. Give you guys one more minute here before I hit this enter button. That'll give me a little bit of time to make sure I get everything pulled up that I need. What's your guys' favorite type of builds from a running back standpoint? Anchor RB, get that first running back, that first round, second round, and then kind of lay off running back for a while. Is it zero RB? That's what I try to do. No running backs in the first 5-6 rounds. Do you like to go a hyper fragile build, which is 3 running backs in the first 6 rounds? Just kind of go a heavy running back early, but then you lay off running back the rest of the way. Or maybe even robust RB, something that I don't think I would ever do. They would call that 4 running backs in the first 7 rounds. So definitely not something I would do there. I've done a couple hyper fragile builds already this year in the puppy. But zero RB is definitely the main way that I go. Tyler is with me there with the zero RB. All right, let's go ahead and enter here into the Poodle 2. Hopefully I'll see you guys into the draft. Oh, no. Oh, there's a couple spots left. Hopefully I got somebody in there. I hate it when we get the last spot in there. That makes it so hard for everybody to get in together. Man, I see Tyler in here. And there's Lee. All right. I'm happy now. Let's go. Woo! Let's go. I love it when you guys want to draft me, but then if it doesn't work out, it sucks so bad. So I'm glad to see you guys in here, especially right there at the end. Anybody else I recognize in here? The other day I was drafting Eric Binefor from Spike Week. Somebody who does a whole lot of best ball stuff was right there, drafting right beside me. So that was very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and move this over a little bit. How's that look? Nope, that's right in the middle of the draft board. Trying to find the best spot for me while I got a little bit of time here to move myself. Guess I just put myself up here. I don't know. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it looks. All right, Gambler is on the clock first out of the guys we're playing with. I'll just go this way. This is fine. This is fine here. So to start off here, Justin Jefferson goes, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. Gambler Lee in the chat here goes Christian McCaffrey. If I get a guy like Christian McCaffrey, that is a place that I like to go that anchor RB that I kind of laid out early. Travis Kelce going up at 105 already. Oh, man. I feels like everybody just jumping on him. I'm not – Bijan here at 7 is not something I'm ever doing. I'll lose every best ball team I have to. I just can't – I can't stomach taking Bijan Robinson this high above guys like Austin Eckler. I'm going to go ahead and go A.J. Brown. Mainly I'm going to go A.J. Brown over Steph Diggs, specifically because I like Jalen Hurts a little bit more than Josh Allen this year. So it gives me a little bit cleaner stack if I do get the stack. They're also facing the Cardinals and the Giants week 16 and 17. I like that Giants matchup in week 16. Buffalo facing New England in week 17. Not that we should not draft Stephon Diggs because he's facing New England in 1 week of the season, technically 2, but the most important week of the season. It's just not necessarily a game that I'm loving right now, and I really want to just stack up. But this Philadelphia Eagles versus Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray should be back by then. This offense potentially will be flowing again there in Arizona, not thinking they're going to win anything. But I do like that. That defense is going to be pretty terrible this year. So don't mind going to look at that kind of a stack here for that week 17 stuff. Let's check out the board. Tyler goes Devontae Adams at 111, Bijan at 108, Steph Diggs 109, CeeDee Lamb at 110. And now we're at the turn. So we'll see what they do here at 12 and 13. I'm not good at this stuff, but that's why we've got Trev. Appreciate you, John. Dude, you gotta think about jumping into a best ball draft one of these days. I know you've been doing some fantasy stuff. I know you did a dynasty draft the other day. Give best ball a try. The other nice thing about Underdog, you can do pick'ems, right? They got pick'ems. You can go higher, lower. Jalen Hurts getting sniped. I'm getting sniped by my own friends. What are we doing? Jalen Hurts goes here at the 202 to Tyler with Devontae Adams. I really don't like where these quarterbacks are going. So I'm okay with this. I'm not going to go and chase a guy like Josh Allen here. It doesn't really seem to fit what I want to do. I could go anchor RB with a guy like Saquon. He's had a little bit of injury recently the last couple of years. So I'm just gonna keep loading up on these wide receivers and take Jalen Waddle here. Try to get myself a start of a nice 0 build. My feet are wet considering a cannonball soon. All right, jump on in. Water's warm. See where Lee goes. Here. Tyler, I know you're here. Let me know. What was the thought process here behind taking Jalen Hurts at the 202? Were you just hoping to get elite quarterback early? Was that just, or were you doing it just to snipe me because you knew that's who I wanted? You can be honest in the chat here, guys. Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts were. Chris Olave, Saquon Barkley, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith all go right after I take Jalen Waddle. Josh Allen goes to the Jamar Chase guy. I don't mind that at the back end of the second round. Doesn't feel as bad. Tyler says, I'm a big QB guy. But Jalen Hurts is a little QB. What's going on there? Craig Rock here, Nick Chubb, and Lamar Jackson. I have been seeing Lamar Jackson go earlier and earlier. One of the things I don't mind doing at the 2-3 turn. So if you got the number one pick, or even the 2 or 3, I guess. Usually I do it at the 1, is going Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, right? Just getting that Baltimore stack. He came out today. You know, the reporters asked Lamar, how's the new offense feeling? And he said, more passing, less running. Well, as fantasy football guys, we love to hear that, right? So I don't mind going that, elite tight end and elite quarterback, just kind of taking that stack at the 2-3 turn if it presents itself to you. But this, man, what is going on? Joe Burrow, Justin Fields. Y'all might not see me draft a quarterback tonight. I might not draft a quarterback tonight. I love Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going. I don't really. Man. I'm kind of thinking about Calvin Ridley as well. I heard some good. You know what? I'm going to keep my quarterback options open and keep my 0 RB rolling here. I do really like Ramondre, and I would get him 4 to 5 spots behind ADP. I like that a little bit as well. Mudcat jumped all over it. He was pretty stoked to see that, I'm sure. But with the amount of quarterbacks that went off the board already, in Justin Fields, Joe Burrow already gone before halfway through the third round, what I do here now, I've got now Trevor Lawrence I can snag. I've got a stack with Tua if I want to there. So giving myself options here at the wide receiver position so I could, kind of backdoor stack it later on. Yeah, you could go Ramondre and maybe do some kind of New England stack later on. Had I taken Steph Diggs instead of A.J. Brown, I definitely would have taken I probably would have taken Josh Allen, honestly. So maybe not Ramondre. But if I go Steph Diggs with not Josh Allen, I wouldn't mind taking Ramondre then. So, yes. Yes, Tannehill will be available. Yes, he will be for sure. I'm almost always go QB in the second. I get it. I did it a lot. I did it a lot in the puppy because it felt like if in a contest like that you're drafting, everybody's drafting at the same time, very similar to the Poodle. We're all drafting right now, and these quarterbacks are going so high. It almost feels like you have to get a couple teams with these elite quarterbacks or you're just going to get burned. I'm happy with the way I've started this so far, but that's probably what leave here getting Joe Burrow with T. Higgins and then Justin Fields going here at the 305. That's probably what they're feeling, right? It's probably what they're feeling a little bit. Mark Andrews falling. What is his ADP? I don't think I've seen him in the third round like that before. Matt Speck gets him 7 picks behind ADP. So this guy's just letting the draft come to him. He's got Breece Hall 5 picks behind ADP. Mark Andrews 7 picks behind ADP. He's liking it. He is liking it. All right, Tyler gets sniped 2 times in a row. I will come back to that. Let me make my pick. Look, I've already gone 0 RB. There's no way I'm going RB now. I could go DeAndre Hopkins with the correlation. Who's Miami and Jacksonville got? Carolina. I think I'm just going to go DJ Moore. I've heard a lot of slander about DJ Moore. I don't really get it. I think he's going to be a fine addition to this Chicago Bears offense. I really like him with Justin Fields. I assume Ryan Muro was probably hoping he'd fall here. DeAndre Hopkins definitely has the Week 17 correlation with the Philadelphia Eagles. But I still don't think he's going to be an Arizona Cardinal. So I'm not going to pick him just because I think he's going to have Week 17 correlation. I would really like to see where he's going to land or get a little bit better understanding. And also, I don't really like where he's being drafted right now. He hasn't stayed on the field too often. 4th round feels a little high. Feels like we're drafting him at his absolute ceiling for this year, whereas the range of outcomes is not much higher than a 4th round pick, right? I don't really see him being a top 10, top 15 type of wide receiver. Sure, he could be top 24. This kind of feels a little high here. I'd rather see him in the back end of the 5th probably if I want to go grab him. Miami is with Baltimore here. I wanted to make sure I had that on my mind. James, not much strategy here. Oh, I forgot about this. Tyler got sniped 2 picks in a row. So Tyler goes Travis Etienne. It gets sniped. I assume you wanted Brees Hall. Of course you wanted Brees Hall. Goes Etienne instead. And then what were you going here? Christian Watson, I guess, or Josh Jacobs. One of these two guys ends up taking Jahmyr Gibbs on the back end. So I've taken 4 wide receivers. I'm the only, I'm not Produce Man Jim here in the 3 spot. He and I are the only 2 teams that have gone 0 RB to this point. And I'm fine with it, guys. I think there's a lot of running backs. If I pull this up and I start to look at running backs here, let's look at 66, 79, 90, right? Look at some of these ADPs. Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Pacheco. Pacheco's a starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's fine. Rashad White should be the starting running back for Tampa Bay. Alexander Madison has a potential chance to be the starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings. James Conner is going to be a workhorse because that team's going to be trash. Javonte Williams coming off injury. A.J. Dillon. I mean, there are some names in here that I really don't mind from a 0 running back type of build. And so I'll probably just let this thing continue to slide to me and see where we go from there. Justin Herbert goes. What do we got going on at quarterback? Trevor Lawrence is right here. Watson, my boy Anthony Richardson. Oh, man. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to jinx it. I was really hoping that TJ Hawkinson would fall one more spot to me. I would have loved that spot for tight end. I don't really want to do this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take Trevor Lawrence. It's a little early, nearly a round early, but with the way quarterbacks are being drafted in this draft, I can't trust any of you guys. I just can't do it, right? Draft all Titans, great strategy. Will Levis will be on the board here a little bit later on. He'll be there. He'll sit there for a couple days like he did here in Kansas City, but he'll be there. Now, I actually like Will Levis a little bit in Dynasty. I've been saying it. I think the Titans just need to go ahead and blow it up, move on from Tannehill, move on from Derrick Henry. Doesn't appear they're going to. It's all love, baby. It's all love. No, I don't think they're going to move on, but I really think they should. I think it's time. George Kittle here at 59, Tyler. I like that. I looked at him. He would have been who I picked had I not gone ahead and taken Trevor Lawrence, but I really felt the need to go ahead and get him. You got him 5 spots back of ADP. You're going to like that a lot. So far, Lee has gone through. He's in the chat, so I'll talk about his team. 5 rounds in, he's got Christian McCaffrey, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow stack, David Montgomery in there in Detroit, along with Brandon Ayuk. Tyler through 5 rounds. Devontae Adams, Jalen Hurts, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, George Kittle. He is on the clock again and takes Michael Pittman Jr. I've got A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, and Trevor Lawrence with a little bit of that Jacksonville stack. The problem with the Jacksonville stack, they play the Carolina Panthers in Week 17, so that's not necessarily something that we are looking forward to. And Ingram later, Zay Jones later. So there's some good Jacksonville guys later on here. All right, here we go. Mike Evans goes. Michael Pittman, Miles Sanders, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has destroyed me. I've never looked back. Yeah, you guys think Darren Waller will fall in another round? I would have him right at ADP. No, because Lee will take him. I know it. I know he's going to take him. All right. What do we have? 5 picks in. I'm going to go ahead and I don't love these running backs yet. So I'm going to take a rookie in Jordan Addison. I think he's going to have quite a bit of option there to get on the field early and often. And I love these 5 wide receivers. And so now I'm settled in at wide receiver. I'm not going to force wide receiver anymore. Just go ahead and let that thing roll and start turning my focus on some of these tight ends, stacking up my quarterback, looking at some of these mid-round running backs. We're looking at, 7, 8, 9, 10. All I could easily go 4 running backs depending on how the board falls here. Thoughts on Mixon's spot? Where'd he go? Ooh, 57, 5.9. I mean, I would take Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift. I'd probably take Miles Sanders. I was looking at Miles Sanders for my spot just because got that Jacksonville, Carolina correlation. But I would take those guys over Joe Mixon. I'm not really excited about Joe Mixon. Even if he is on the field for 17 weeks, I don't think, he's a year older. He's getting to that age threshold of running backs, which so is Aaron Jones, right? Which is why he's also down here, which also is Dalvin Cook, why he's down here, and we don't know where he's going to play. So there's a reason some of these guys are down here, but I don't like Joe Mixon here. I'd rather have Isaiah Pacheco over Joe Mixon. I'd probably rather have Dalvin Cook. I'd rather have a team situation versus a legal situation, right? Because Joe Mixon does have a little bit off the field issues. So yeah, I don't really like that spot at all. I would rather see him down here in this 7th round versus up there in the 5th. Quentin Johnson goes to the LA, who's guy who got the Chargers. Darren Waller does not fall, which I did not expect him to. Treylon Burks, the Titans guy, goes. I did talk about Rachaad White earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and take my first share of him here. Tampa Bay, go ahead, hit that correlation in week 17 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Plus, I like Rachaad White. He's going to be a second-year running back. No Leonard Fournette. This team is not going to be great with Baker Mayfield at the helm, maybe Kyle Trask, whatever. They're going to have to utilize this running game quite a bit. So I like Rachaad White here as my first running back off the board. And quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of these wide receivers right here, right? That's why I like this strategy right now. I like Treylon Burks. I like Quentin Johnson. Don't mind them. But after that, Deontay Johnson just goes. George Pickens, Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis, who hasn't really done anything we expect him to do. Jahan Dotson, Brandon Cooks, I like Zay Flowers. I like Bateman a little bit, but some of these other guys that are right here in ADP, it kind of feels like a wide receiver dead zone. Not really something we talk about a lot, right? We always talk about the running back dead zone, but those are guys that I'm just not real high on at this price. I'd rather take the running backs in this range. As I say that, Tyler takes his Brandon Cooks. Got to get a little cowboy love in there. See what Gambler did on the back, 6 and 7. He takes Tyler Lockett and Brian Robinson to go. So Njigba goes right before Lockett. On a 1-year deal, talent-wise, I'm going Njigba. But I think that Tyler Lockett, especially in the boom bust, I like him a little bit more than Njigba right now. I like Quentin Johnson in a 1-year deal. Just thinking about this year, I like Jordan Addison and Quentin Johnson a little bit more. I've actually moved Jordan Addison above Jackson Smith and Jigba in my dynasty rankings. I will not be doing that with Quentin Johnson. I'm not really big on Quentin Johnson. I actually have him probably further down my ranks than most in dynasty wise. But I think this year, right, we all know that Mike Williams never stays on the football field. So he's going to get opportunity. So in a best ball draft that we're drafting just for this season, I don't mind Quentin Johnston. Tyler loading up on the wide receivers here now. Michael Pittman, Brandon Cooks, Zay Flowers as his last 3 picks. Let's see what we got going on here. There's a very clear one. And nobody watching this is in front of me, so I'll just put it up there anyways. Very clear for me to obviously double stack my quarterback if I can get this to fall right. Mudcats doesn't have a tight end, and he does have Christian Kirk, so he could go Evan Ingram. And he goes Javonte Williams, so we'll take our guy, Evan Ingram. Easy as that, guys. Now we got a nice stack. Little Jacksonville Jaguars. Second year under Doug Peterson. Third year with Trevor Lawrence. Why not? Why not the Jags? Why not the Jags? I'm going to miss out on all these running backs. Who's Miami got? Baltimore. Whoa. Baltimore. See, I talk about week 17 correlation quite a bit. But just thinking through here, I was taking a look at what Miami has week 17. They have Baltimore, which is nice. You know, if a guy like Zay Flowers falls, but Evan Ingram's still there, you know, I could take a Zay Flowers instead. J.K. Dobbins earlier, you know, could have taken him instead of Jordan Addison just to give me a little bit of that Baltimore action. I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of, you know, Bateman, I guess. If Bateman were to some reason fall 10 spots back down to me, I like those, but I'm not going to go out of my way to just find somebody a place for Baltimore just because I have one guy from Miami. My team stack is still going to be the most important thing. Getting a double stacked Trevor Lawrence, because the games that Trevor Lawrence goes off, he's going to be bringing 1 to 2 of those guys with him, right? Obviously, I hope those 2 guys are going to be Calvin Ridley and Evan Ingram. If week 17 is a shootout, right, against the Carolina Panthers, that I hope that it's Calvin Ridley and Evan Ingram to give me a chance to take down the 60,000. So I'm obviously looking for week 17 correlation, but it's not the only thing, and I'm not going to go out of my way just to do it. It has to make sense within the draft still. There's other ways you can still get week 17 correlation. I got, you know, a Chicago. I could go a little Chicago, Atlanta late. I had Chicago plays Arizona week 16. Arizona plays Philly week 17. So I could find a Cardinal late, right? A James Conner is still sitting here on the board, nearly 20 spots past ADP. That would make a lot of sense, A, because I only have one running back, and he stacks up week 16 and week 17 against guys I already have. So he goes here. I expect him to go here. I actually did not expect it to keep falling. It doesn't really make sense that he would. But those are just things that I continue to look at. Bateman goes. Thankfully, I was kind of starting to think about Bateman. I'm like, well, maybe I should take him. But I didn't actually want to take him. Let's go running back here. Let's take a look at what we've got. A.J. Dillon, Devin A-Chain for Miami. I got a little at Miami already. James Cook is the best option, I think. Doesn't necessarily correlate, but second-year running back. Who'd they bring in? Penny? Buffalo. Harris. Damian Harris, that's right. Wow, Damian Harris has jumped James Cook. Where was he drafted? 20 spots different ADP, but somebody took him right here. Lee took him here at 93. Loading up on his running backs here. I like Damian Harris. Oh, shit. Didn't even look at quarterbacks, guys. What am I thinking? Where are you at in the chat? You're supposed to help me out. You're supposed to help me out. Why didn't I take Tua? What the heck? Well, there's still some guys down here I don't mind. Just kills my stack option. Just killed my stack option. Where does Kirk go? 101. Can't believe I missed Tua. I didn't even think about Tua. Kirk going over here with JJ. Makes sense. Makes sense. Could have been an option as well for Jordan Addison. I was so fixated on my running backs because I went 0 RB. Man, I could have gotten so many other running backs. That was a miss on me, guys. That's what I get for talking so much. Dwayne McBride for the Minnesota Vikings, right? You think he's going to be the one over Madison if when Cook moves on? Is that what you're thinking, John? John, I need my Minnesota Vikings insider, man. I could take McBride later. Where's McBride going? I could keep him on my list. 212? Oh, yeah, for sure. I could take him a couple rounds early, just get him with Addison. Who's Minnesota play? The Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. All right, let's see what we got here. Tyler goes Devin A-Chain. I knew it. Shouldn't have opened my mouth. Dalton Kincaid and Alvin Kamara go at the turn. And then Tyler going Charbonnet. So 3 straight rookies for Tyler and 3 rookie RB so far. It's almost like you watched my puppy draft whenever I took 4 rookie running backs. I don't advise it, but welcome to the team, man. That's what we do sometimes, right? All right, what do we got here? There's Odell is at that Baltimore stack, which we kind of talked about. Don't love these. I'm gonna go take. I'm gonna take Jameson Williams. I was gonna take Daniel Jones. It just didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't spend a whole lot of capital on Trevor Lawrence, but I do like a couple other guys here a little bit later on that I could go. I could go a 3 running back or 3 quarterback build with this. Jameson Williams, obviously going to be he's suspended for a couple weeks, but I've got a whole lot of options here that I don't need a guy like Jameson Williams early on. Little week 16 correlation here with the Minnesota Vikings, so I like that as well. I think he'll get a sneaky amount of touches, honestly. All right. Well, this is what I'm going to do right now. Nope. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. High risk, high reward with these rookie running backs. Are not wrong about that. Daniel Jones goes right after me. Tyler Boyd goes the lead, double stacking up Joe Burrow, I believe, right? Yeah, double stacking Joe Burrow. Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr. All right, guys, what are we going to do here? I would love for my original plan to work out, but every time I open my mouth, something goes wrong. So I'm not going to do that yet. Again, running backs in this range, I'm not liking near as much. I would rather go with some of these other, couple rookies. I like Foreman in Chicago quite a bit later on. Chase Brown, I don't mind. I like taking some of these Philly guys like Kenneth Gainwell. Like, why not? I understand DeAndre Swift came, but these guys still get injured. It's still running backs, so don't mind that. I love taking shots on guys like Leonard Fournette and Kareem Hunt. We don't know where they're going to land, but we can only assume they're going to land at a team that's probably needs running back and needs somebody to come take the reins. So I like that. I like those guys late. No thanks on Clyde. That's for dang sure. Keontae Ingram for the Cardinals. Got a little correlation with Arizona, as I've talked about multiple times. But James Conner, he's getting up there in age. He's not Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey age, but he's also been used a whole lot. So injuries could definitely start to wear and tear on that body. A guy like Keontae Ingram could come in and take that job. And why wouldn't the Cardinals kind of try to see what they got in a guy like Keontae Ingram? So don't mind that kind of guy late as well. It's very clear as day who I'm taking. That's Jared Goff. Love this. Did not expect Jared Goff to fall, but I will definitely take a Goff, Jameson Williams late stack here, especially after missing out on Tua. Again, a little bit of Minnesota in the week 16. And then, if I find a little Dallas later on, I'll hit it. But it's not necessarily going to be a must, although I will, break ties with somebody like that. So far, through 11 rounds, I've got a 2-2-6-1 build. I could definitely finish this entire draft with just 6 wide receivers. There's nothing wrong with that. Since I went 0 RB, I really need to push 6 running backs. So through 11 rounds, I've got 7 picks left. 4 of those really need to be running backs. I need at least 1 tight end. That would be 5 picks. And probably an extra quarterback. So it's, maybe I have 1 luxury pick coming up in this range. We'll see how that goes. Damn you. Love to see that in the chat. That means I'm doing something right, pissing people off, right? No, it just made too much sense. When I get a guy like Jameson Williams, the only reason I took Jameson Williams, of course, I talked him up, but I also took him because I saw Jared Goff and I thought maybe with Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers still on the board, Jared Goff had a chance to fall to me. So I'm happy that he did. Adam Thielen going there. I was kind of keeping my eye on him. Your boy Mingo goes. Yeah, not my boy, somebody's boy, but we all know it's not mine. Carolina there. He would have made sense in this build, honestly. Coming back on the other side of Jacksonville, Adam Thielen would have made sense in this build, but not necessarily somebody I'm craving to go get. Tyler taking Rashee Rice. You love to see it. Love to see it. Starting to get into the range that I don't really care too much about ADP. I'm probably going to go I think I'm going to go Raheem Mostert. No, I'm not. Who's the one that's got? I'm just going to go with it. Tampa Bay. I've got a little Tampa Bay anyways. We'll go Keandre Miller. He should have a little bit of opportunity early in the season. I think he's got the talent to overtake Jamal Williams. And really, it's not necessarily means like week 1 or week 2, but over time, overtake him as the number 2 while Alvin Kamara is out. And then once Alvin Kamara comes back in, Miller could definitely just continue to be the number 2 and just essentially beat out Jamal Williams the rest of the year. So obviously taking a little bit of risk there. My running backs are, with 2 second-year guys and a rookie, it's not really feeling great. But we can start 4 wide receivers and 2 running backs. So we like to see that, as the starting lineups are 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs plus a flex. So I can flex in another wide receiver, have 4 of those, and I'm feeling really good about my wide receivers. I thought D'Onta Foreman would potentially fall a little farther. I was looking at him. I wasn't going to take Roschon Johnson because I thought I could take Foreman. Produce Man Jim out of the 3 spot goes ahead and takes him, though. So that is what it is. Sam Laporta's down here. Wouldn't be bad. I don't love taking Sam Laporta, but if you're going to get him with your quarterback, that's the best time to get him, right? Who's starting? Brock? God. Produce Man Jim and I are about to tango. Son of a gun. Son of a gun. Hang on, Tyler. Let me get back to you. One moment. All right, I'm going to go Raheem Mostert. I thought about him last time as well. I've already got a little bit of Miami with Jalen Waddle, but this gives me a veteran. I love Devin A-Chain for Dynasty. I love Devin A-Chain for redraft season this year. But I do think, Mostert will probably start as the number one running back. I don't think he finishes as the number one running back. I don't think he finishes the season. But early on here, as White and Cook start to get their feet wet a little bit more, Keandre Miller's trying to win a job. Getting a guy like Mostert might help me early in the season, gain some points there. And then maybe, just maybe, come playoff time, he's a veteran. Miami's trying to find come Bestball playoff time, I'm talking. Miami's trying to find a playoff spot. Maybe they turn to their veteran in Raheem Mostert, and it helps me out. So tell yourself a story, right? That's what they say. DJ Chark, see, I could have doubled up Carolina or stacked up Carolina again. Let's see here. Detroit and Dallas. Jacksonville and Carolina. Is there anybody left in Carolina that I'm going to care about? Wouldn't mind a guy like Hayden Hurst, right? Would you guys mind Hayden Hurst? What about Dallas? Who's Schoonmaker? All right. I think I got some options still for my bring back for week 17 bringbacks. That's what I'm looking at. Tyler, I have not forgot about your question. I actually have an answer to it, but I have screwed around enough that I'm already back on the clock nearly. So let me finish this up, get through here. Schoonmaker, right? He's an option. Ferguson's an option. Deuce Vaughn's an option from Dallas. Sitting on 2-4-6-1 ever since I said it last time. I think the last couple running backs are going to be punts. I've got a guy in mind that I like here. We'll see how that turns out. Tajay Spears, I don't mind him. I don't have anything for Tennessee, and then I've talked about the Kareem Hunts and Leonard Fournettes of the world. I think Zach Evans has a chance to become the starter. We talked a little bit about Minnesota. But right here, I'm not going to go running back. I'm going to – man. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just finish my tight ends. Gerald Everett does nothing for my build, guys. Nothing for my build. But this guy was a top 12 tight end last year. He was in the top 6 multiple weeks of the season. I don't really understand why he's down this far. He's not really that old. It feels like he's been in the league forever, but he hasn't. He's like 6 or 7 years in the league. He's not super old, but he is pretty talented. And to me, this actually this gives me an extra luxury pick. I don't need 3 tight ends now. I've got Evan Ingram. I've got Gerald Everett. It gives me an extra pick. I don't need 3 quarterbacks. I'll probably snag a 3rd quarterback, but I don't need to. With Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff, that honestly, the more I say it, the less I even think I need a 3rd quarterback. So getting a guy like Gerald Everett puts me in that position where I don't need a 3rd tight end either because I already have Evan Ingram. Kind of allows me to just load up a little bit more on these running backs that I'm going to need as many as them as possible, potentially giving myself a a seventh, maybe eighth. Eighth probably is a little bit too much. But at least, potentially a seventh running back here and snag another wide receiver. Johnson, Wandale, Bryce Young. Gambler taking Bryce Young as his second quarterback. Not bad. Getting a haircut. Jeff Wilson, Hunter Renfrow, Curtis Samuel, Chase Brown, and Brock Purdy. Let me talk about this. Brock Purdy, now that Lee just took Brock Purdy, I think that as much as I love Trey Lance, I think Brock Purdy is the starter. I think he'll start week 1. Nothing that I've seen so far in any reports tells me like this guy's way off. He's not gonna be there. I think he'll be there. I think he becomes the starter. I think he's probably back week 1. Even if he's not back week 1, I don't think Trey Lance is going to do enough. While I think he could, I don't think he'll actually do enough to win over this coaching staff. I think Brock Purdy has clearly won the coaching staff over, and he is going to be the guy moving forward, which is kind of a bummer, but especially for a guy like me who absolutely loves Trey Lance. We'll take another running back, another rookie. Why not? Tajay Spears here. I told you guys earlier I liked him. Thought about taking Chuba, get that Carolina in me, but it's just not really something I love. I really don't love it at all. So I don't mind just passing that on, going with the rookie, find a little upside. This Jalen Warren ADP. Let's talk about that a little bit. 150. Obviously, he's sliding quite a bit in the Poodle right now. I'm not really sure why he's been so high. I don't really like that. Pittsburgh's never been a team to rotate their running backs. And I don't really anticipate that happening again. Kenny Pickett is now in his second year. I think Pittsburgh kind of moves up. I don't think they're going to be great offense, but maybe they're sitting in the 16 to 20 range in offense this year. Gives them a little bit of an edge over, especially with that defense that they have. But yeah, I just don't see Jalen Warren being a huge part of Pittsburgh's success. That's just not the way that Tomlin runs his offense. He's a one-horse machine there in Pittsburgh. That's how he's always been. So I don't love that much. All right, let's see here. Gus Bus, I don't mind that. A little Baltimore action. Hubbard, I already said. I like Philly. I got Philly stacks with Gainwell. Fournette and Hunt are still going to be there as options. And then how early? I got 3 picks left. How early, John? Do I just pull the trigger, man? That's kind of like where I'm sitting right now. Because I could see one other guy doing it. Because he's got Minnesota at the 1 spot. So I could do it now. That'll be a little early, though. Nobody else really just screams at me that I need to take them. I like Gus. Brings me that Baltimore-Miami stack. Carolina gives me the other side of Jacksonville. There's enough guys on here. I don't think I'm going to go that route yet. I'm just going to take my Carolina. Take my Week 17 correlation here. and we'll see what happens. I am going to go ahead and put him up here. I just didn't think I could take him right here. It didn't really make sense. Now, if I would have taken him, I still think I'd get a chance at a Kenneth Gainwell or a Gus Edwards, but it didn't really seem worth it to take him there. So I will roll the dice here, and if he makes it around to 199, I'll take him at 199. That way I don't let Tyler snipe me at the end of the draft here for no reason. So I will take him at 199 if he does fall there to go along with my Minnesota stack in Jordan Addison. Just gives me another guy there. And then let's see. I got my Carolina. I could still use some Dallas. Dallas comes on the other side of Baltimore and Detroit. Okay. There's some Dallas down here still. Jalen Tolbert ever going to be a thing? No. Ron Jones. Old Rojo. R.I.P. Rojo. R.I.P. It's getting down to the nitty gritty here. These are places you just want to take shots on. Take shots on your guys here. This is where I really focus on that correlation, finding guys who are going to make sense in week 17. I'm going to go ahead and take I really should take Kenneth Gainwell. You know what? I took a lot of Philly running backs. I took a lot of Philly running backs in the puppy. I got my fix of Philly running backs in the puppy. Let's go. Dwayne McBride. John filled us in earlier with the inside tip, right? John says, I think he'll get a sneaky amount of touches, honestly. So we're going to roll that way. Take him there. Ferguson goes. That kind of hurts. You knew that I was going to take Schoonmaker or Ferguson, didn't you? Or maybe you thought maybe you wanted Kenneth Gainwell. Supposedly, but I think he's a bust. Are you talking Schoonmaker? I actually like Ferguson there in Dallas. But I'm not going to get that Dallas stack. It's fine. I picked up the Detroit stack late. Only got a single stack with Jameson Williams and Jared Goff, so that's all good. See who else is out here. Let's go Jacksonville. We got anybody left in Jacksonville? Jamal Agnew, Parker Washington. No, thank you. Then go Brenton Strange. Get that Evan Ingram backup. What about Detroit? What I got left in Detroit? Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. Bunch of guys. Brock Wright. Antoine Green. No thanks. Dallas. I'm just trying to kind of think about where I could go with this last pick that makes a lot of sense. I only have 6 wide receivers. That kind of feels weird. But again, I spent so much draft capital on them. Going 5 wide receivers to start the draft. 5 of my first 6 picks were wide receivers, and A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, and Jordan Addison. So spending that much draft capital on it doesn't make it feel that bad. Tyquan Thornton is sitting here at 210. Kind of just feels like I should just take him, honestly. He has absolutely no correlation to my team. Bullshit. Correlates with James Cook, guys. Let's go. I don't get why he's down here, but pretty far down a drop ADP. Plus, he correlates with James Cook in week 17 because that's all that matters, right? That's what we've been talking about. Look at that. Look at that. Works out beautifully. While this ends up, I'll run down my team. Let me know in the chat. What do you think about this team here, guys? I got to talk it out for the audio listeners too, but I want you to tell me in the chat what you think about my team. Starts out with Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff at the quarterback position, just two of those. Rashad White, my first running back off the board at pick 79. Pick 79 is my first running back off the board. James Cook, Keandre Miller, Raheem Mostert, Tajay Spears, Chuba Hubbard, and Dwayne McBride. Wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Jordan Addison, Jamison Williams, and Tyquan Thornton. And two tight ends in Evan Ingram and Gerald Everett. What do you guys think about this team? Do I have a chance to take down $60,000? Is this the team that's going to do it? Is this the team that's going to take down the $60,000? Jalen Tolbert, is that who I should have taken for my Dallas pick? Is that what you're saying? I probably would have, but I mean, Tyquan Thornton, man, he was just sitting there staring at me. Not a big fan of Claypool. No thanks. Don't really need that in my life. Just doesn't really make sense to me. They're in Chicago. Let me run down. Tyler, I'll start with your team. Tyler drafted out of the 11 spot with us. He was here in the chat. Devontae Adams, Jalen Hurts, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, George Kittle. This will be easier if I go this route, actually. His quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. He gets Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devin Achane, Zach Charbonnet, Jamal Williams, Deuce Vaughn, Kenneth Gainwell. You're welcome for the Kenneth Gainwell pick there at 203. Wow, Kenneth Gainwell fell a lot. 15 picks behind ADP. And a lot of running backs, a lot of rookie running backs on the team there for Tyler. Wide receivers, you got Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, Brandon Cooks, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, and Van Jefferson to go pair with Matt Stafford. Three tight ends in George Kittle, Michael Mayer, and Trey McBride. I kind of like that Trey McBride pick. It's a little sneaky there. A little sneaky at the end. Little sneaky. All right. Lee goes Joe Burrow, Bryce Young, Brock Purdy at the three quarterback positions. Running backs are Christian McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Damian Harris, Tyler Algier. So you kind of went anchor RB. No, not really. I guess I would call this a little bit more like kind of like a modified robust, right? You got two in the first 4 rounds. You go 3 in a row, and then you kind of just let off. But you're just doing your own thing, which is great. Wide receiver, go T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Lockett, Tyler Boyd, Alec Pierce, Khalil Shakir, and Terrace Marshall Jr. Tight end is Cole Kmet, Dawson Knox, and that aforementioned Luke Schoonmaker. I don't really understand the Bryce Young pick. I guess you stacked him with Terrace Marshall later on. Didn't make a lot of sense at the time. Brock Purdy, you're going to pick him up. You had George Kittle, right? Oh, no. Tyler had George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk earlier, though. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense. And you had Christian McCaffrey. Okay. I love the Brock Purdy pick. Not so much the Bryce Young pick. Plus, I think you could have went with just 2 quarterbacks. You have Joe Burrow as in the third round. You take Joe Burrow in the 3rd round. I don't think you need to take Bryce Young. I just don't. I mean, I don't know if you don't like any of the other guys that went after him, but I don't think you need to take Bryce Young at all. You just take Brock Purdy in the 15th round and say, look, Brock Purdy's going to be the starter. I've got my QB1, my QB2 right now. So I just don't think you had to take Bryce Young in that situation. That's the only thing I didn't really understand on that one. Other than that, it all makes sense. Other than that, it all makes sense. Does anyone want to do another draft? If there's one or two people in the chat that want to do it, I would do another one. I'm also not like absolutely have to do that. Oh, just to clarify, Jalen Tolbert is a bust. Okay, you were just responding to me talking about it earlier. That makes sense. I don't have to do another one, but I absolutely would do another one if somebody else wanted to do it real quick. I'm just going to go in here and name this bad boy. And then I'll take a look at my puppy exposures. Two 772. I always do if I'm on stream or not, and then kind of what the breakdown is. Jacksonville, Detroit are my two main stacks. That's how I name them. Tyler says he's good. Lee says he'll draft. He always wants to draft. I know that. We can draft offline. Let's take a look at. I just want to show you kind of a little bit of my. You can see how I didn't do this. Didn't go back and name all these. Let's look at my exposures real quick. Just in the puppy. I got 10 teams in there. Right? 7. No, this ain't right. Let me see what I'm doing here. I thought I had 10 teams in the puppy. Yeah, I have 10 entries. Okay, let's go to exposures. $5. Apply. All right, now it's showing all 10 teams. All right, James, I'll hit you up for coffee in the morning, my guy. I'll send you the address. Let's look at quarter. I just want to go through this just to kind of show you guys where my head's at early in the offseason so far. I drafted one of these on stream a couple weeks back, and then I haven't really been back on since. Just had some things going on. So I just want to kind of go back. I drafted 10 teams in the puppy. The nice thing about these smaller contests, everybody's drafting right now. So everybody's drafting with all the same information right now, right? When you go into the Bestball Mania, $25 entry, $3 million up top, obviously I'm going to put a couple bullets in that thing. But when you do that, it's different information as the year goes on or the offseason goes on because there's 660,000 people drafting in that thing, right? And that opened right after the NFL draft, and it will stay open. It'll probably close sometime in late August. Like it will legitimately be here all summer long because it's so large. Nothing wrong. I love doing it because you get different information. You can take shots now that others won't be able to do later. You get guys who rise really quick. Dameon Pierce, for example, last year, if you drafted early, you could be drafting this guy that 16th, 17th, 18th round. All of a sudden, he starts to gain some traction. I think he ended the year as a 7th or 8th round draft pick, right? So if you drafted early, you got great value on a guy like Dameon Pierce. So that makes sense of why people want to draft at different times for Bestball Mania. But for these smaller contests, everybody's drafting at the same time with the same information. So with that in mind, obviously the puppy, we had a lot different information than we have today for the poodle. But one thing I wanted to show you, I talked about earlier, I went for some of these elite quarterbacks a lot more often. Jalen Hurts a couple times, Joe Burrow a couple times. I made sure to get in a Josh Allen and a Patrick Mahomes and a Lamar Jackson. Like I wanted to spread out some of my shares of these guys throughout that tournament just to make sure I had, multiple guys. But as you all know, I'm absolutely in love with Anthony Richardson and his landing spot. So, of course, he's my highest drafted quarterback so far. Running back, Keandre Miller, I drafted again tonight. I just like that situation. I like that position that he's in. I really believe he has an opportunity to take over that job while Alvin Kamara is potentially going to be suspended 4 to 6 weeks. Chase Brown, similar situation. Rookie running back coming into an uncertain situation with a starting running back who has legal problems, and Joe Mixon. So I really wanted to target some of those guys later on in the draft. Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Dillon. If you notice, a lot of these guys are all late round running backs, guys that I'm targeting later in the drafts. Ramondre Stevenson, though, again, it's really hard to pass up Stevenson. It's really hard to pass up Breece Hall and Austin Eckler, some of these guys early on in the draft. And you can see I took them a couple times. I think I did a lot more anchor RB in this one. A lot of, Eckler, Stevenson, Breece Hall. I even call them anchor, even if it's in the third round. I just call it my anchor RBs. Took those guys. Wide receivers, I took a lot. 50% Michael Pittman. That might be a little bit high. But my love for Anthony Richardson was definitely getting the best of me there. Rashad Bateman. Everybody wants to talk Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is necessarily going to be a fantasy relevant wide receiver. I think he's going to be a fine wide receiver 3. He's going to be the 4th or 5th option there in Baltimore. He'll be good for the NFL team, but I don't think he's going to have enough volume. I do think that Rashad Bateman can still be the number 1 wide receiver there. Sky Moore, I got to get into. DJ Moore, I talked about today. Alec Pierce, I threw him on Anthony Richardson a couple times there. I've been talking about Jameson Williams. Anybody else kind of stand out here? A.J. Brown. You see, I'm taking A.J. Brown over Steph Diggs quite a bit right now. It's just my own preference. If I have a chance to draft both of them, I'm taking A.J. Brown right now. I did get a Justin Jefferson team, which is nice. And then at tight end, Mark Andrews. I talked about him in tonight's show that, I agree, Tyler. Odell will be a decoy. Like, I really think I think he'll catch a pass or two a game, and maybe he'll have a couple boom weeks, but I just don't think he's going to be consistent at all. I told you earlier I like Jake Ferguson. You see it here. Mark Andrews, though, I really wanted to target. I didn't target it this tonight, but when I was doing the puppy, I was targeting some of these early tight ends. Travis Kelce, 10%. George Kittle, 20%. Mark Andrews, 30%. That's a lot of high-powered tight end action, right? That's 6 of my 10. I drafted a tight end in the first 5 rounds. I guess Kittle's probably going in the 5th round now, right? TJ Hawkinson, add a 7th in there. I've been really trying to target these early tight ends. I didn't do that tonight. Luckily, Evan Ingram fell to me later on, so it worked out. But I have been targeting some of these higher tight ends. Early quarterbacks, early tight ends right now. And if you can't get an early tight end, you'll find whoever's going to go well with your quarterback. You just stack up the guys going to go with the quarterback, because I'm not going to – if I'm not getting one of the elites at the early I haven't really drafted a whole lot of Goddard. I'm not chasing Waller. I have drafted him. You see it here. But I'm not chasing him in the middle of the drafts. I was hoping he fell to me today just because it would have been nice to fall 10, 15 spots past ADP. But I wasn't going to draft him the round earlier. Just didn't make sense. So it's just the way I've always done tight ends anyways, either your first or your last. I do it a little bit with best ball as well. Try to take elite tight ends. If it doesn't work out, find the tight end that fits your quarterback. Tyler, I like what I'm hearing from you here on the Ferguson thing. I'd like to know a little bit more about why that is. But I like Jake Ferguson in Dallas. I feel like he is going to be the guy, right? Dalton Schultz has moved on. Ferguson's time to step in and take over. I do like Ferguson there in Dallas. I need to get some more Dallas stacks. A little bit of CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Ferguson, maybe a Pollard in there. Action. I don't think I had any Pollard in my first 10 drafts. I don't think I drafted Tony Pollard one time. And I love Tony Pollard. So That's a bummer. All right. Well, that is enough of me chatting about my own best ball teams. I appreciate you all being here. This is a best ball summer, right? We're going to be here all summer long drafting these teams. I hope you join drafts. I hope you join the chat and just want to talk. If you're an audio listener, come on over to the YouTube streams. Again, it'll be normally Friday nights at 8:15 Central Time. You get to see the draft board. We get to talk through it. You get to let me know your thoughts and all that. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Again, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you would. We're going for 750 subscribers before that Detroit Lions versus Kansas City Chiefs game 1 of the 2023 NFL season. Check out my season-long podcast, Another Damn Fantasy Podcast, powered by Bite Size Sports. You can find us over there, Apple, Spotify, or live on YouTube in this time slot, usually Wednesday nights at 8:15 Central. Follow me on Facebook at The Rumbles of Red. Follow me on Twitter at TrevorS_FF. If you're going to be doing a couple more drafts, good luck in the Poodle drafts, and may the money be in your favor.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.